Good morning. Join me, Carol Steins, for a stroll down rock and roll's memory lane with Ira Nagel, one of the founding members of the legendary punk rock band, the Ramones. So stay tuned for an exciting, nostalgic journey right here on Winging It Buffalo Style. The Ramones were an American punk rock band from the borough of Queens, New York. The group formed in 1974 and are often considered to be the first of its kind, influencing an entire generation of alternative music known as punk rock. However, despite that the Ramones had very limited commercial success, they were extremely popular in America, as well as in the United Kingdom, with their numerous concert tours and widespread fan base. Today I'm here with one of the band's original members, Ira Nagel, who prematurely severed his relationship due to a bitter feud with a fellow bandmate. Shortly after his departure, the Ramones were discovered, signed to producer Seymour Stein's record label, Sire Records, and achieved critical acclaim. The rest, as they say, is history. So now our journey takes us to Forest Hills, New York, where you went to school with Joey Ramone. PS3. Can you tell us about your school memories?
Yeah, Joey and his brother Mickey Lee went to the school, and I just moving in from the Bronx, and I went to the school and I started out in 5th grade. Mm-hmm. And I always noticed Mickey and Joey in the playground. And I used to always say, "Hi, how you doing, guys? What's going on?" And I never knew at that time that they were musicians, but they were into music, and they really got into personal things like 50s music, 60s music, and we always used to talk about music at that time. And it was a really good relationship. And then we met again when we were going into junior high school. I met Joey, and we were in the same grade together, and that's when the music industry started.
So you were in the same grade as Joey?
No, Joey was like 2 years behind me, and we were in a lot of bands at that time, and the original band that I was in was called the Tiger Five, and Tommy, that was the drummer of the Ramones, was the guitarist in the band at that time. And that was like the family tree of, the music that was going on at that time.
Now, what encouraged the band to create this punk rock sound that they're so famous for? Why the interest in punk rock music? Well,
they wanted to put music together as a simple music type of thing, quick 2-minute songs. They really liked at that time there was a lot of music called bubblegum music, and they wanted to have quick and easy and fast moving music so people can follow up and people can understand and people could relate to it.
I understand that punk rock music was often referred to as garage music. Is that correct?
Garage music, yes, and we will be going on a tour of where they did their garage music.
Okay.
And the school that they went to, Forest Hills High School.
Okay, most of the punk rock music actually had a lot of anti-establishment lyrics and very short songs. And was that true for the Ramones? What type of actual music did they create?
The music that they usually did, Dee Dee Ramone, that replaced me, was a very strong writer, and he wrote a lot of political songs like Blitzkrieg Bop and I Want to Be Sedated, stuff like that.
Right. Were their songs mostly noted for political statements that they wanted to convey, or was it just mostly for entertainment purposes?
Well, I think they wanted to do an entertaining thing, and some of the music was political, but they really wanted to do sort of like they were like cartoon characters.
Really? So they wanted to create an image that was unique and different from all the other bands that were popular at that time?
Yeah, the dressing was really unique at that time because they wore the dungarees. They had the sneakers, the kid sneakers, the white sneakers, jeans. They wore T-shirts. They wore leather jackets.
Right now, the Ramones.
Right now.
What does it say on the back? End of the century. It's a very dark movie. It's accurate. It left me disturbed. Johnny Ramone. So now we're in front of Forest Hills High School. This is where you went to high school, Ira?
This is where I went to high school. That was in the 1970s. And it was a really rough school because at that time it was the Vietnam War and there was a lot of protests going on. People were walking in front of the school, having signs and stuff like that. And it was a very, very tough year or two because, you know, they were fighting in Vietnam and students were worried about being drafted and stuff like that. So it was a lot of famous people came out of school. Michael Landon came out of the school.
Really?
Simon and Garfunkel came out of the school. Leslie West came out of the school from Mountain.
Really? Oh, wow. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
a lot of history here.
Yeah, and a group that was really popular by the Ramones were a group called the Vagrants. And they were a really big group in the 60s. And they were playing all local places and everything, and their dressing was very similar to the Ramones, but the Ramones liked the way they used to dress because they wore the leather jackets, the dungarees, the sneakers, and they made it very, very popular.
Right. Speaking of the fashion, the Ramones were very unique in their style of dressing. Could you tell us a little bit about their signature black leather jackets?
Okay, the black leather jackets was very popular at that time with the Hells Angels, and it was like a very tough type of look that I guess they wanted to present because everybody else was wearing sports jackets, ties with the Beatles. They were very conservative, but they wanted to go the opposite way to make it very simple a way of dressing.
So aside from their music being unique, they also wanted to create a very unique and distinguished fashion style.
Exactly, yeah. And also, I purchased my jacket. I was a little different. I always liked to be different. So when they got black leather jackets, I bought a brown leather jacket.
When you were still part of the group?
When I was before the group, when Johnny and I went to Jamaica, and we went to an Army-Navy store, and we got the original shot jackets, and at that time they were like $39.
Really?
Yeah, and now they're running about $600-700 because the difference in in the prices and stuff from the 70s to now.
Right. Now, did all of the Ramones go to this school, or?
All the Ramones went here. Dee Dee went here, Johnny went here, and Tommy went here.
Now, is this the place where the Ramones decided to form a band?
Yes, they decided.
When they were attending high school?
Yes.
That's when they came up with the idea to start the Ramones.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And whose idea was it to start the band?
It was John and Tommy.
John and Tommy?
They were like the people that were really liked the music, and they put things together, and they thought things would work out. And they thought right from the beginning that they were going to be very popular and make it.
Oh, so they always had a positive outlook?
Always, right from the beginning, from day one.
They knew that they had something special to give to the world.
Yeah.
This has been a very interesting journey. Ira, can you tell me what you're doing now?
Currently, I'm working with special ed. I'm a crisis intervention para.
And what made you decide to leave music and go into this type of career?
Well, I like to work with students, and I enjoy that, and I have a lot of patience, and I feel like I have a good rapport with students, and I can identify with them through my background.
But do you have any regrets that you left the music industry?
No, I don't have any regrets because I'm the type of person I like to help people before I personally like to help myself.
I know most people refer to you as the lost Beatle, another Pete Best. How does that make you feel?
It's okay because I had a very strong background in the music industry. I did a lot of recordings, and I've been in a lot of different bands, and I felt that working with students would make me feel a lot more productive in my life.
Oh, I see. So there's absolutely no regrets.
There's no regrets.
And were you happy for the Ramones' success?
Yes, I was, very much so. Because I knew right from the beginning that they were going to do very, very well.
You did. You always had that feeling inside that they were going to make it.
Right. And I was always best friends with Joey.
And do you still keep in touch with the Ramones?
I keep in touch. There's only one Ramone left. It's Tommy Ramone. And right now he's currently in a band called Uncle Monk.
Uncle Monk, which
Yeah.
is what type of music?
It's country music.
Bluegrass.
Bluegrass music,
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
And he's the only surviving Ramone.
And also I understand that they have a Ramones event coming up in the month
Yeah,
of May,
there's going to be a Joey Ramone birthday bash
which they have every year.
every year, and it's for prostate cancer for Johnny Ramone and lymphoma that Joey passed away with.
Okay.
What's your name?
I'm Jay.
Oh, this
Jay?
is Jay.
So
Yeah.
And
what's
Ira
your-
Nagel, he's the lost Ramone. He was one of the founding members of the Ramones before they made it big.
Before they made it big,
He
so
was
we
very
do-
good friends. Well, he was with Joey Ramone and all the Ramone members.
Yeah.
I remember the Ramones. They're responsible for the ringing in my ear right
Yeah.
now. What do they call it? Tinnitus or something like
Yeah,
that?
it's nice.
I can't tell you how many
Yeah.
mornings I
What was
woke up with
What
that.
was their most popular song? I Want to Be Sedated?
I want to be sedated, or
remember that
Blitzkrieg
one?
Bop.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You think about I Want to Be Sedated. My father grew up in the big band era, and he liked Glenn Miller and all that.
Yeah.
But even he would start tapping his fingers on the car wheel when I Want to Be Sedated came on.
You
Right,
see,
right.
so it's a music that expand from generation
To
to
generation.
that
And
everyone could
they're more
enjoy.
popular today than they were when they were together.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Right.
Yeah.
So you must be familiar with that movie that came out a couple of years back.
End of the century.
The End of the Century.
End of the Century. That's
Yeah.
right.
Did you see that film?
Oh, of course. I couldn't miss it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it started over here. I mean, it was like
Right
a
over
walk
here.
down memory lane at 67th Avenue.
66th
the train
Avenue.
Station, or whatever. Yeah, they had a train station.
Well, we're going to be going right up. We're going to be
In
going
fact,
up to the
Ira's
ramp.
mentioned in the credits of that film.
Yeah,
right?
I'm
Were
in.
you,
Your
I
name
think
again is-
Ira Nagel. If
I'm
you,
gonna have to look that
are
up.
you featured in the film?
I was interviewed, but they cut me out. But I'm in the closing
Closing credits.
credits.
No
That's
kidding.
interesting.
This is gonna be really cool because one of the guys I work with is a big Ramones fan. I'm gonna tell him.
All right, tell
he
him.
might be familiar with your name.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
enjoyed the Ramones music then?
Oh yeah, I still do.
You still do?
Yeah, I'm
Still do.
a punk rocker.
Did you know
in
that
mind.
they went to the school? You know they went
Oh
to
yeah,
the
I
school.
went to school with one of their roadies.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Monty
I think that was his
or
name.
Mickey, Mitch Hyman,
Mick,
his
that's
brother?
it. Yeah,
Mitch Hyman, his brother.
I think it's Mitch. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I remember I go to a couple of concerts and I see him on stage. I say,
Yeah.
"Hey guy, how you doing?"
Yeah.
In
But
fact, the Ramones
name
were
is-
not really their names. That was their surname.
That was their surname.
Could you tell us why they chose that
The
surname?
reason why they had that surname, it was Paul McCartney's hidden
Is
alias name. So when he went into hotels, he wouldn't go under Paul McCartney, he would go under Paul Ramone.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
And that's how the group adopted
That's
the
how they
name
adopted.
Ramone.
So it was Johnny Ramone, Tommy Ramone, Dee Dee Ramone, and
So actually
Marky-
they weren't
and Marky
related. They
Ramone.
weren't brothers.
right,
They just took
Yeah.
the name Ramone.
exactly, yeah.
Oh, it's interesting, right? Did you know that?
Well, sort of.
Piece
No,
of
no, that I
trivia.
did. That I didn't know. I knew that the Ramones wasn't their name,
Right,
but I didn't know where it came from.
but that's
But
where it came
actually
from.
there were two brothers.
There was
Actually two brothers.
but not in the band,
But
though.
not in the band?
Yeah.
Oh, so none of the band members were
No,
related.
not at all, not at all.
Okay.
Is the story like that song, "The KKR Took My Baby Away"?
Yeah.
Is the story behind that song true with Johnny Ramone and Joey Ramone and how they're, I think one stole the other's girlfriend?
Exactly, yeah.
Is
That's
that
true?
true?
That is true.
And is it also true that Joey Ramone, if I got it right, that Joey Ramone didn't know that Johnny Ramone was singing the song about him?
Probably not, but at the end they probably did, because Johnny took Joey's girlfriend and they ended up getting married.
So here we are in front of the home of the late Charlie Chaplin, the 1920 silent film star, and the home once shared between Ira and Joey Ramone back in the 1970s. So Ira, tell us a little bit about this residence.
In the early 70s, that Joey and I lived here, and there was 4 other people from Queens College. We rented out the house. We lived on the top floor, and this was Charlie Chaplin's house. And he
So this
started.
house was owned by Charlie Chaplin?
Charlie Chaplin was lived here in the, I guess, in the 1920s, 1930s, and he was doing his filming in Long Island City, and that's when Queens was just being built up, and he purchased this house, and was really a lot different. It was all shingles and all the
So this brickwork was not here at all at
no,
that
the
time?
brickwork wasn't here at all. But there was an outside porch. This outside porch is from the master bedroom, and Joey and I lived on the top floor.
Oh, I see. Okay. And it was just you and Joey that shared the house, or were
No,
there
there
other
was four.
members
Yeah,
of the
there was.
Ramones that-
No, there wasn't other members of the Ramones, but there was 4 other people that were renting out as well. And we used to, we used to practice. The Ramones used to practice in the basement.
in the basement in this house.
In the basement in this house, and I
And
used
what
to.
time? What was the time frame at that? Like, was it the 1970s?
It was the
when-
early 1970s. It was just when the Ramones were starting, about 1972, 73, 74. And I used to fill in when Dee Dee, the bass player, was out doing stuff. So I used to fill in on the bass.
Oh.
And this is like, you know, when I was in the original group.
So this house holds a lot of memories.
Oh yeah,
for the
a lot of
band.
good memories, yeah.
And how long did you occupy this residence?
We lived here for basically, it was a year.
1 year?
1 year.
And what happened after that? Where did you move to?
I actually moved back home.
You moved back home.
I
but
moved
the
back home.
remaining Ramones
Yeah, and then
still occupy
right.
this residence.
And then Joey moved back into the village, and that's when he started with CBGBs. They were performing. He lived right around the corner, and he
And
lived
that's in Manhattan.
in Manhattan, and he lived with Arturo Vega. And Arturo Vega was a big designer. He designed the shirts,
Oh, the Ramones.
and
yes,
he
yes.
designed the logo of it.
Oh, so how did that make you feel that you weren't part of the Ramones when they received critical acclaim?
Well, it was very tough because I knew that they were going to make it from the beginning. They had a good direction, they had good material, and they were doing their songs was like 2-minute songs. And I just felt at the time that I was doing other things, other interests, and I just decided not to do it.
Do you have any regrets?
Yes, I do. I have regrets because I feel that I should have been a part of it because I'm a very talented musician.
Was there any friction or feuds between you and the other band members?
Yes, there was. With Johnny Ramone.
Johnny?
Yeah. And there was problems. He didn't get along with a lot of other people.
And is that the main reason why you left?
That's one of the main reasons, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Ira, is this where you hung out with the Ramones?
It wasn't really the Ramones. It was a community area that a lot of people hung out. It was a very popular area. And we used to come here after school, and we used to hang out in the evenings. And we used to play stickball on the top, and we used to play football on the top. And it was a really nice area. Yeah, the Ramones hung out because they lived in the area. They lived in the Howard Apartments. They lived in Birchwood Towers. People can come here from the area. We used to socialize. We used to talk about music.
And members of the Ramones hung out here as well, didn't they?
Yeah, Johnny used to hang out here. Tommy used to hang out here. And Dee Dee used to hang out here. And it was a good community. And it was a very friendly community, and we used to always share our thoughts and our ideas. So in the future, I'm putting together a book called The Lost Ramone. And it should be probably in production. I'm doing the writing right now.